beautiful people. My name is Simon Javan Okelo. I am in Seattle, Washington, and I am really excited to be here with you today. I have a wonderful guest who is joining me all the way from Nairobi, Kenya. Binti Africa, please say hello to our viewers and our listeners.
Hello to everyone tuned in, and hello to you too, brother. Thank you for having me.
Of course. It's really an honor, to have you on the African Father in America podcast. It's been a while, us communicating and preparing for this moment. So it's really an incredible opportunity. I'm going to do a proper introduction. I want to take a minute to just jump straight into our proverb for the day. Our proverb for the day takes us to Malawi. For those who are familiar with Malawi, that's where Lake Malawi is, the deepest lake in Africa. It's not the biggest lake in Africa, but it's the deepest lake in Africa. And it says, white teeth are no guarantee. White teeth are no guarantee against bad breath. So if you're watching this, no matter what platform you're on, I want to see your comment with your own perspective on this proverb. And I also want you to share the link to this conversation. Just share the link to this conversation, whether you are watching on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, on LinkedIn. Those are the primary visual platforms where we are, but we're also live on AMP. AMP is a new audio app that was created by Amazon, and we are one of the people who are testing it. So if you haven't heard about it, it's currently available in the US only. But it's really dope. You can listen to any kind of music and basically run your radio show on that app just on your phone. So again, it's really an honor to be here with my wonderful sister Binti Africa, who is doing incredible work, creating a lot of movements in the motherland. And let's talk about this proverb. Today's proverb is beautiful. White teeth are no guarantee against bad breath. And go ahead, sister. I missed the last thing you said.
I love this proverb. No, I said this proverb is fire. I absolutely love it. It reminds me of a song I wrote years ago featuring Nonini. It's called Mtoto Mpotevu. And it was based on a true story. A girlfriend called me up and was like, hey, there's a really hot guy you need to meet. And I got myself all pretty and ready, went to meet the guy, but it was Sura Bila Tabia, So white teeth don't necessarily mean there's no bad breath there. I love this proverb. It's amazing. Thank you for this one today.
Of
Yeah.
course. I want us to try
I hope that
something.
analogy.
Yeah, it makes 100% sense. I want us to try something though. I want us to use your I want you to take off your headphones because I think there's a bit of an echo. Let's try that. Because there's just
Okay.
a little bit of an
Okay.
echo. Let's see if that works better for your audio because I really want to get you loud and clear. Okay.
How
Say
is it
some.
now?
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I want to share just 3 nuggets of wisdom about this proverb and then create space for you, Binti Africa, to talk a little more about it. So typically during the AFIA
Okay.
podcast, I talk about 3 nuggets of wisdom that are aligned to this proverb or the proverb for the day. The first one here says that don't judge people by their appearances. If you see someone looking beautiful, they might have no teeth, they haven't smiled for you. You're just seeing it from far. Or maybe you haven't kissed them, and so you won't know that they have no teeth, So be ready to appreciate everything that they have. That's what this proverb is saying. The second nugget is that be careful who you trust. A lot of people, including myself, I trust first before I doubt people. And sometimes that's a bad strategy. I think you should doubt people first before you trust them, And then number 3, always be mindful of your own actions, take full responsibility. If you trusted somebody in the first place and they do something bad for you, it's your own fault. It's not that person's mistake. Anyway, those are just a few nuggets to get us started. But Binti Africa, I want to create a little more space for you to talk about this proverb. White teeth are no guarantee against bad breath. You touched on it a little, but I want you to just go a little further and share with us what this reminds you about.
A lot. I love your nuggets of wisdom, especially the second one, about trusting people, because I'm the same. And I have tried to be, but very recently, I only learned how to say no. And then even more recently, I learned to be comfortable with saying no. you know because I would always say yes and always want to make everybody else feel safe and comfortable and help them out, but vice versa, it would not happen to me or for me from them. The expectation I have of for myself and the standard of how I will hold friends and how I accept them into my life and love them and respect them, I found was not really how other people would relate with me. So nilikuwa nashtuka sana, I would be really surprised and brokenhearted so many times. So I love that. And that's the second part. The third one, remind me the third nugget.
Oh, the
Because I
third
wanted to say
nugget.
something
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, it says that always be mindful of your own actions. Always be mindful
Yes.
of your own actions. Yeah.
Yes, I love that, because as well, that for me reads so much into emotional intelligence. Someone can decide to behave a fool towards you or disrespect you, but your reaction really at the end of the day will impact on you. You can decide to rise up and engage them and have a fight or back and forth of negative words, but when you leave that situation and you're alone, it's your heart that's going to be burning and feeling really rotten. Well, that's for me. So I've learned to also just take myself out of situations, because it's not about me. But the minute I agree to engage in that negativity, then it becomes about me. Yeah.
100%, because you walked in. You opened the door.
Exactly.
You signed up. You signed up. Nobody
Yes.
forced you. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. You can actually
100%.
choose to, just remove yourself from that situation. Yeah.
I love that. I see that we are being joined here by a few brothers and sisters. Just make sure you share your own perspective on today's proverb in the comments, and we will read it towards the end of our time together, so that we can just give you a shout out and recognize your presence. For now, I want to just take a moment and reintroduce you to Binti Africa, who is my special guest today. Binti Africa is a musician, a host for an incredible show on 254 Reggae Magazine, and also popularly known as the Swahili dub queen. I just appreciate you for taking the time on a Friday evening in Kenya. I know you have a new song, Prayer, as well. I want
Yes.
you have a lot to talk about. I want you to talk about your music. I want you to talk about your show. But before we get there, let's go back many, many years back, maybe when you were 8 to 12 years old, and share with us a story, that, just will help educate us about what it is that drives you. I share my own story almost in every episode of the AFIAPodcast, that when I was 8 years old, my mother, who was a second wife in a polygamist marriage, started a business. She started a distribution business for milk and bread in our neighborhood, where we would go to the depot in downtown Kisumu and buy a lot of crates of milk and bread, and then we would come and sell it to people who have kiosks in our neighborhood. So she had many people, maybe 7 to 15 people with bicycles, and I was one of them.
Wow.
And so this taught me the discipline, the determination, the focus, and the fighting spirit, that, sometime I would go to a shop and I find that they already got milk and bread supplied to them. Then I would say, well, you told me that you'd take mine too, so
Yes,
so I would fight with the
yes.
shop owner. I would say, you promised that you'd buy from me, why are you buying from another person? You have to take this too, and so they're like, this little kid is making me buy his stuff, then they're like, okay, I'll buy, but I can't pay you today, I'll pay you tomorrow. Then I say, oh, if you pay me tomorrow, then you have to promise
It has to
that
be
you'll
more.
no, I say you have to promise that you buy from me for at least a month, then they're like, okay. So, the hustling spirit came from those
Yes,
years. So I
yes.
want you to share with us a similar story, that when you think about it, you feel like waking up from your bed and doing what you need to do.
Yeah. For me, my stories, it's all about my grandma, my grandmother, my mom's mom, Hannah Amani Werike. May her soul rest in perfect power and strength. That was a real lioness and strong woman. She actually started the Welfare Society and Mji wa Salama, which is a children's home in Mombasa. She used to do social work for the government back then, for Moi. And she was always up and down. And when she would come from Mombasa, I'll never forget. And that time we didn't have blow dries or there was this way to straighten hair with the um like a steel kichana that you put on the jiko, and she would come with her prep of coconut oil that has jasmine in it and everything, and make sure and choma that hair and dress you all well and gather all the grandkids, and we would go all over and follow her on her work, doing her social work with different orphan children, different, and collecting people, and organizing, and what's the word I'm looking for? Delegating and organizing, but all for the strength of the community and for the youth. Like, she had this thing, watoto, watoto, watoto. Put a lot of effort and love into nurturing the youth. And I think, well, I know, not I think, I know that I got a lot of that from her in how I move as well. I don't give up easy. I've been in the music industry for a long time. And people always ask, oh, don't you think you should have come out? In Kiswahili, hujatoka by now. And I'm like, what does that mean? What exactly does that mean? For you, does it mean that I should be played in a certain channel, or maybe you want to know me in a different way, or you expect me to have some scandals on Tuko, for you to know that I've made it, so to speak. It's all relative. The message is what is important, and to see that the message I'm giving is uplifting my community, because that is so important. Nobody wants to live in a stank place or within a poisonous community, so we spread love, we spread positivity. Man, I love my grandma. She was just so ready all the time, and no one used to mess with her. No one used to she was 6'6" tall, big. No one used to mess with her, you know yeah. So thanks for asking me that.
Yeah, I
I'm
love that.
emotional.
I love that because these kind of stories, at least for me, such stories ground you. They help you settle down. It's like in this life, at least for me, currently, we are dealing with so many things. We are dealing with social media. We are dealing with family. We are dealing with bills. We are dealing with the news.
Yes,
We are dealing with
yes,
health. And we are dealing with people like the people who are saying things to you like, when are you going to make it? You know what I mean? But
yeah,
then when you think about why you started, because this question is about why you started, for example, I have been researching about why I started Madaraka Festival. Even though I know why I started, I've been looking at, for example, why did Apple as a company start? Not what is it
yeah,
doing or how is it doing it, but why.
yeah,
And why Apple started is because they believe that everybody needs to be able to be creative. Everybody needs to be able to create, from their fingertips. And so they are creating these gadgets to enable people to create, and that's why they're a successful company, because they know their why, and so I ask this so that
I
I
love
know,
that. I love that one.
yeah, so that I know
I
what
love
the wife or the
that one.
guests are, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, yes. Even in addition to that, I think getting into music, starting to write, because I was writing before I was singing. I always used to write, and it's because of being brought up in the environment I was brought up in. With your mom being Swahili and Muslim, and dad being Catholic. I always make this joke, and I say being brought up by a Muslim mom and a Catholic father means you're constantly in confession, whether you because every single thing is like guilt. Yeah, but also at the time, I was born in 1981, and growing up, my teenage years were in the 90s, late 90s. So as you're not a girl is not supposed to be heard. You're just supposed to be seen, and you're supposed to be seen looking pretty, and doing jobs within the house to uplift the bomber, not for yourself, So the only way I found I could be heard was through music. Yeah.
I love that. I love that music became your weapon, like Fela Kuti. Uh, like Fela Kuti
Kabisa.
used to say, the things you can't say, and I'm finding this too myself for a long time,
Yes.
for years, for almost my whole life. I have worked with, I grew up in the church. I have worked with choir people. I have worked with artists like Ohangla, traditional artists. I've worked with Benga artists. I've worked with reggae artists because I was a reggae DJ for a while. I've worked with hip hop artists, I've worked with, Afrobeat artists. I've worked with people who started Afrobeat, D'banj, I've worked
Wow.
with, yeah, I've worked with, country artists, rock artists, and what I've always wanted to do is to be an artist myself, is to put out my own material, and so,
But you are an artist.
well, I don't think I have prioritized that. I've always been similar to what we were saying, creating space for other people and building a platform for other people. But I realized that I've been building a platform for myself, and so when I work with the band that I've been building for 9 years, I've been building the One Vibe band here in Seattle. We have the One Vibe band in Kenya as well that I've also been building. And when I work with the musicians, because this is the longest period I've been working personally with the band on my material,
Wow.
from January to now, so they are like, not all of them are from Africa, but they are like, even though you're singing in a different language, most of my songs are in Luo, but I fuse a few English words here and there. But they're like, we understand you. We now understand you spiritually, and I'm like, wow,
This is it.
it took you guys a long time to understand me, but now I feel like we are communicating, and I feel comfortable, and we laugh, we joke. I feel like we are now free, and we formed a brotherhood through music, and it's something
I'm so
that,
happy for you.
yeah. So I feel like for
Yes.
me, it took years to accept that, I'm actually an artist, and then it took years um, to embrace what I really have to offer as an artist. So now I'm hearing my own musicians and my own bandmates saying, somebody was asking me, is Simon a singer? And I told them, no, Simon is a storyteller, So, and
Yes.
then they asked him,
Yes.
why are you saying he's a storyteller? Because he does not really sing. He has these ideas and he says them through music. And then I say, oh, maybe that's exactly what I do, So sometimes you just,
Timeless.
yeah. Anyway,
That is timeless.
yeah. So I feel like
I
that's
love
what
that.
you're doing, I feel like
I
that's similar to what
resonate
you're
with that
doing.
so much.
Say
Thank you.
more,
I
say more, say
resonate
more.
with that so much. I resonate with that so much because same way it took me a long time to actually be comfortable in the skin of a musician, and then after that it also took me a further couple of number of years to be comfortable in the fire that I bring to whatever I do, the energy that I bring basically. But all that is also because of the upbringing of, when in China you're a girl, be seen, don't be heard. Yeah, but here we are.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So you just dropped a song, Prayer. I want you to talk about it for a moment because you're talking about music, and then let people know where they can get it, where they can stream it or support it or, engage with it. And then after that, I want you to talk about 254 Reggae Magazine.
Okay. Prayer. I love this song. I was even singing it this morning every day. I wrote the song basically. First of all, let me give a big shout out to my amazing producer Shamir, who I know you know. He
Shamir is your
produced this song.
producer too. Shamir is my producer. He's done a couple of songs in the album that I'm working on, but he's our producer. He's the One Vibe producer.
Yay!
Yeah, we've worked with him for a long time. Yeah, if you know Shamir, then I think you know me.
We are family, bro. We're family. We're family. I've known Shamir for years, and it's amazing to be working with him. And also Kabuba, another producer on it. This song
So
actually
just one
stems
thing.
from. No,
Shamir has
yes.
always been very slippery. He does not want to come on my podcast. So now that you're here, you should you should send him a link
Do
to this
you know?
conversation.
I've been trying to get him on my radio show as well, and it's impossible. Like.
He has an amazing story, but I think he does not like the spotlight too much. Anyway, talk
I
about
know.
prayer. Yeah.
Yes. So the song, like I was saying, what inspired the song is since when COVID happened. You remember when it first started, and I don't know about, well, I'm sure you experienced the same there, but here in Nairobi, the first lockdown, then we thought, okay, itafunguka and things will be back to normal. It just became worse and worse and worse. And then even when the lockdowns were lifted, people were still very uncomfortable being around each other. People were scared, terrifying. So we weren't really meeting. And to be honest, sometimes right now, I feel maybe I also got very pleasant, like I'm a new vivu, laziness, I don't know, because we are still not making the effort that we used to make before to link up with our friends and families. And so all I had to say in my meditation was, this is my prayer, guard my people wherever they are, because it's so long. We used to be together a lot more before Corona. And now also because of the economy and life, everything happening, it's ridiculous. Atuonani. And my first verse, I say communication should be easy. Can I just sing it? I think it'll be easier.
Yeah, sing it
Okay.
for us.
Thank you. So I say, communication should be easy, but in this life we are raisi rahisi. Saa zingine ma stress tu ni nyingi. It don't mean kwako sina makini. Oja, watch over my people, protect them from evil. As a lioness me trod, woman measure every word. In my silence my prayers are heavy. This my prayer, Lord. Oja, God, all my people, me now wapenda, Lord. Yes, so, prayer, even in my silence, I'm praying for my people.
I love
It's
that.
just important for them to know that. Yeah.
I love that. I think we should all be praying for each other. The thing is, in the world that we live in, some people pray for your downfall. They pray harder for your downfall than they pray for your well-being.
I know, even in Kiswahili we say jicho la dege. When someone's smiling at you, but in their heart, they're actually envying and jealous and just wishing your downfall. So when they look at you, when you leave their path, you end up with a swelled eye or pink eye, you know. It's because someone looked at you badly with a negative intention. Yeah, we have to pray more for each other. We need to care more for each other. We need to be more conscious about our words, our actions to each other. Because honestly, as African people, we have been sidelined for the longest time, yet the power lies within us. You know, so I'm like, people, please emancipate your minds. It is time to love your brothers, you love yourself. Love your sisters, you love yourself. Uplift each other how you want to be uplifted, you know? Yeah.
100%, 100%. It's cheaper and more affordable to love than to hate. You know, when you hate, it's a burden to you. You know, because it's a burden to you than the person that you're hating. You know, for example, here in America we deal with racism. You know, there are people who they don't just like black people. You know, when you are a black person and you are employed and you're doing well at work, the day that you think you're going to get a promotion, I'm talking about myself. There's a job I used to do. The day I thought I was going to get a promotion is the day I got fired, you know. And that happens to so many people here, you know. And there are people who, they don't just like you, you know. They don't just like you because you're black. They don't just like you because you look, you know, attractive. They don't just like you because you sing, but they can't sing, or they're shy about singing. So at the end of the day, you might say that, oh, I am a victim and I am suffering because I have lost my job. This has happened to me. But the person who did it to you, and you know, the person who did it to you is probably suffering more. You know, they think they've inflicted the suffering on you, but they're inflicting it on themselves. You know, in Luo, we have a saying that goes, and my mother loved this saying a lot: kitimo maber, itimo nini wuon; kitimo marach, itimo nini wuon. Which means when you do good, you do it for yourself, and when you do bad, you also do it for yourself. You know, so
I love that.
yeah. So let's go to the next question here, because we need to do another episode, really.
Can I just add on that? We have one in Kiswahili and it says raha kwangu mkuki kwako.
I love
You
that
get that
one too.
saying?
Yeah. I hope that
And
Stella.
it means
Go ahead.
it basically means the person doing it to you, they think that they're attacking you, but they still leave you with your happiness. It's innate, it's coming from you, whatever positivity you're giving, but that spear hits them instead.
Yeah, I love that. A lot that I will be digesting. A lot of the conversations I have here on the AFIA podcast, a lot of it I digest after personally, you know, because when I'm in silence, I think about like what you just said, and I'm like, wow, this will live with me for a long time, you know. One of the things that you do, Binti Africa, is the 254 Reggae Magazine. I want you to talk about it, you know, just, you know, paint a picture for us, you know, why is it important to you, and what do you want those who are watching to do to support your work with it?
Yes, Kenyan Reggae Magazine, 254 Reggae Magazine. It's a radio show, and it's on a community radio station, Radio 254. Basically, this is an initiative that I came up with together with Selector Kabuba and my original co-host Lucy Lugano, who's also a Kenyan reggae songbird. And, you know, we got tired of the conversation that Kenyan reggae DJs do not play Kenyan reggae music. And again, like I said, my grandma really instilled in me, do it yourself, you know, DIY, and don't usichoke, knock on the doors, do it, you know, until you get your message out there. So I'm really grateful that Radio 254 also gave me that platform. The show airs every Saturday, 1 to 3 p.m. East African time. It's live. I have an amazing co-host, Microphone Templar, who's a Kenyan dancehall artist. Amazing DJ. He's actually the youngest DJ right now in the Kenyan reggae industry, and he's coming with so much energy. And I watched him twice on his lives, and I called him. I was like, "You have to come to the radio station," and immediately signed him on because I knew someone would grab him so fast. Like we are growing, because something I realized, a lot of the selectors or DJs who've already made their names and I tried to approach, were not really seeing or feeling the vision, and perhaps it's also because we, as an NGO, the radio station doesn't pay the hosts. We do it for the love, and the only way for us to earn any money is through advertising. So if somebody wants to advertise with the show, by the way, I'll send you the rate card. Maybe you can also add it on this link after. That's the best way for people to actually support the show and support what we do. But what we do is 2 hours of strictly Kenyan reggae music. And again, because I personally got tired of the conversation of, "Oh, DJs, you're not playing our songs," and I'm thinking, I can do this. It's always been a dream of mine to host anyway, and I'm eloquent enough. I think I can do this. I just needed a good team around me, and I have an amazing team right now. It's fun, it's awesome being able to sit there and play this music and also enjoy my peers, my colleagues' work. I really do. I enjoy where we are right now. And Shamir is one of the biggest producers also of Kenyan reggae music. Not just his own songs, but many, many artists, we have grown in leaps and bounds as Kenyan reggae. I believe right now we are in a teething stage, so there's a lot of pain and diarrhea here and there. But it's good times. It's good to see that we're growing. We're growing, and it's amazing. Yeah. So 254 Reggae Mag every Saturday, each and every Saturday, streaming live on Radio 254, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, 1 to 3 p.m. East African time. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. You said it's 1 to 3 p.m. every Saturday.
Yes, every Saturday.
Excellent. I love it. Yes. I love it. Well, I'm very proud of you. When I was in Kenya, we had a reggae show. We did so many reggae shows. In fact, One Vibe Africa is a reggae movement. It originally started as a reggae movement because
I've been following One Vibe for years. Following One Vibe for years. It's only we've just connected personally recently, but I've been following One Vibe Africa for years. I used to think, how will they even know I exist? Yeah.
Well, you exist, and you are doing incredible work. I have been working on Madaraka Festival for 9 years, and I have also been feeling like that, how will these sponsors know that we exist, And now, after 9 years, next year we are celebrating our 10-year anniversary. After 9 years of putting in work, every single year.
Are you coming to Kenya? Is that for the 10th anniversary?
I don't know. To be honest with you, no. We are not planning to do Madaraka Festival in Kenya. But, if Ruto says, "Look, I'll bankroll everything," we will. We can do it. You never know. So I won't say, yeah, you never know. So I'll say I don't know, because you never know what tomorrow will bring, But what I will say is we are ready. I have a team that is ready anytime to do Madaraka Festival anywhere, even in the moon,
So, I love that. Who knows? Yeah, maybe Binti Africa will be stepping to Seattle to come and perform there.
Why not? Again, with the Madaraka Festival, as we speak, we've learned the hard way to plan in advance and to put in the work years ahead. So as we speak, yes, we are now just planning 2026. 2024 and 2025 is already planned in terms of lineups, So the only thing we are planning now, or we are working towards, is sponsorship for 2024 and 2026.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah. So we learned the hard way. We've suffered and struggled and cried, and now we are at a stage where, the structure is built. It's now adding, oil here, adding grease here, painting here, finding the right people to steer the vehicle, And so I just wonder, when we were doing this last Madaraka festival as as a culture bearer in Kenya,
Yeah.
what did it mean to you, considering what you just said, that you've been observing what we are doing for a while, and you're also close to Shamir, who is close to everything we're doing?
I know. No, it's very inspiring. First of all, looking at the work that you're doing with young artists who are outside of the city, because here in Kenya, everybody assumes that the best producers, the best, like everything, you have to be in Nairobi, but you actually don't anymore. So I love the setup that you do also in Kisumu with Shamir. I see the works that he posts, also teaching music production as well, which is so important because we want the quality of our music to be accepted on the international standard. You want to play it and the quality is the same. You're not having to add the song because this Kenyan track has come in. And then you have to add the volume and tweak the, the levels. It really means a lot to me. I also was wondering if there's a way to do some work in songwriting, because I would love to. That's one thing I've been thinking about for lots of a number of years when I look at the work that you're doing as well. And when I say songwriting, I'm specifically speaking about Kiswahili, because that's a lot of Kiswahili is my first language. I have to then translate to English.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe that it's
yeah.
definitely important, to encourage young people, especially here in the diaspora, but also back home, to communicate in
Yes.
Kiswahili. I'm a father of 3 girls, and my girls speak enough Kiswahili, and understand enough
That's
Kiswahili that sometime I talk to them, they can't answer, but they understand it fully. And sometimes I am with them and their friends, and we can have a conversation without them feeling ashamed. Sometimes a child is doing something wrong, but if you tell them in English, everybody will know. So we switch our
yes.
language quickly, and then they correct their move,
Nice.
and everybody's like, what did they just say? What just happened? But we don't tell anybody else what we did. And it's such a powerful thing, that I feel. And
It is.
it's a great relationship that I have with my kids, and it's just the language. So we should really value that. And if there are more Kiswahili songs, people like my daughters would benefit directly from what you're saying. You know what I mean? Yeah. So talk to Shamir.
In
Talk to Shamir.
Yes, okay, yes. By the way, can I just say, I must salute you, because a lot of my brothers and sisters who've been in America for the longest time have the full-on American accent. How you manage to evade that, I don't know. Big up yourself.
Yeah, I can't pretend that I'm more American
Yes,
than the American
hey,
people. I'm Kenyan, I'm Luo, and then Kenyan, and then African. And then I'm a global
yes,
citizen. Because of the work that I do. I work with people from
yes.
across the world. For example, this show, there are people in Brazil, Afro-Brazilians, people in Mexico, people in the Caribbean, people in Jamaica watch this show. By the way, there are brothers that watch this show consistently from the very beginning. This show began in February.
Nice,
Yeah. This show began
nice.
February 2020, when the pandemic was beginning.
Mm,
And
mm,
a lot of people from across the African diaspora value it. And so
yes.
for me, this is also a place where I practice my Africanness. That's why it's grounded on
I love that.
proverbs. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
yeah, I just want you to share with us your closing remarks because we are a little past time, but I want us to plan another session where we can have you back again.
Yes.
When you have a new
I would
song,
love to.
anything that you want us to help push, please come back. But for now, take a moment, share anything I didn't ask you that you really want to speak about, and your closing comments.
What do I want to speak about? I would like to. Okay, I think the biggest thing for me is that I believe everybody, especially in the diaspora, all the this is to my fellow Kenyans who are in the diaspora, because I know that you also are big consumers of Kenyan music. But I'd like you to step up and check the new music, not just the vintage. Hatuwezi bakia kule kwa manzi wa Nairobi. you know, like the songs back then. There's a lot of new music. Please check it out and be proud, of your people. We're doing amazing work, especially reggae music in Kenya. Very recently, my music also started playing in Jamaica, and they're loving it so much that they also are talking about starting to use Kiswahili in their music. Kiswahili kitukuzwe. Yes. I would love for you to also tune in to Kenyan Reggae Magazine. In fact, Saturday is tomorrow. I'm on air tomorrow, and it's going to be an amazing show. 1 to 3 p.m. East African time, so Kenyan time. Streaming live, so just check Radio 254 Live on YouTube. You will find the show going on. Again, if you have any businesses out there, anything you want your fellow Kenyans here to know about, you can advertise on our show. The monies will definitely go towards pushing the show more, helping us to do much more, reach out to more people, because the next stage is to actually take it to the streets. We want to show you how the artists actually live, like sessions, just trotting and one-to-one. Yeah, but as you know, all these things require funding. My music, I have a big mixtape coming out, which is going to be on sale. All you need to do is follow Binti Africa Music on Facebook, and that's Africa ya Kiswahili with a K. So Binti Africa Music on Facebook. That's my music page, and everything will be up there, all the details, and also how to purchase the mixtape. It's amazing, and it has a lot of my new music in there as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I deeply appreciate you for making the time for us to connect today, and for your contribution to the culture, to the reggae music, worldwide. I deeply appreciate it. To our viewers and listeners, thank you so much for joining us today. We do this Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 4 p.m. Kenyan time or East African time. I just want to give a quick shout out to some of my incredible, viewers and listeners. Frederick Diff joined us on Facebook, and he's saying Word, Binti, and One Vibe Africa. And then Masha Mutisi, Lady Lion, also joined us from Seattle. And she's saying she loves your look, Binti Africa. And then Wayne Metho. Yeah, Wayne Metho is joining us from San Francisco, and he's saying this is awesome. He's very proud and very, very proud. So I just want you, if you're watching, take a minute and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also give this video a thumbs up. That's how we ensure that this channel is growing. As we continue growing it, we will continue bringing you incredible guests like Binti Africa, who is here with us today. Have a nice weekend and take great care of yourselves. Binti Africa, I'll be in touch with you. Thank you so much for all that you do.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. And don't forget to subscribe to Binti Africa Music on YouTube as well.
Excellent,
Bless.
excellent.
Thank you so much.
Much love, blessings.
Okay. Much love, blessings.
In America. Tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle.